Marcus built something real. Derek tried to steal it. But the real story is what happened in between. They'd trusted each other for years, and by the time Marcus realized what was happening, his entire career was already at risk. They met in college, shared a laptop because neither could afford one, built a data synchronization platform called CloudSync in their spare time. By 2018, it was making enough money that they could do it full time. Marcus did the technical work, Derek handled everything else. Then Derek started something. Small at first, he'd promise clients features that didn't exist yet. Tell them Marcus had already built them. When the features weren't ready, when they broke in production, when the timeline slipped, Marcus was the one apologizing. Marcus was the one scrambling at midnight to fix things that shouldn't have been promised in the first place. But that was just the beginning. One afternoon, Marcus found the email in Derek's drafts. It was addressed to a venture capital firm. Derek was pitching CloudSync. Except in Derek's version, Derek had built everything. Marcus wasn't even mentioned. Just junior support staff. Marcus stared at it for a long time. Then he asked Derek directly, "Why would you write this?" Derek laughed it off, said it was nothing. A rough draft he'd never send. Said Marcus was being paranoid and insecure. But that wasn't the lie that hurt. The lie that hurt was knowing Derek actually believed it. That Derek genuinely thought he could erase 6 years of work and make it disappear. Marcus had built that entire platform. Every line, every architecture decision, every security layer, and Derek was going to erase that. Marcus didn't react right away. He reread the email again and again, hoping he'd misunderstood it. He hadn't. The pressure didn't stop. It got worse. Derek started holding separate meetings with clients. Marcus would find out about feature requests he'd never been consulted on. Derek was overcommitting everywhere, making promises that were technically impossible. When things didn't work, when reality couldn't match Derek's fantasy, Derek would disappear. Let Marcus deal with the fallout. One of their biggest clients threatened to leave because Derek had promised a custom integration that would have taken Marcus 3 months to build, and Derek had told them it was already done. Marcus had to rebuild the entire integration from scratch in 2 weeks. He slept at the office. He missed his daughter's birthday. All because Derek had decided honesty was less important than looking good. That's when Marcus found out about the second company. Derek had registered a competitor platform. Using the company laptop Derek was supposed to return at the end of each day, Derek was building the exact same product, trying to poach clients, planning to launch as soon as he'd extracted everything valuable. Marcus called Derek out on it directly this time. No politeness, he said, "What the hell are you doing?" Derek tried to spin it as due diligence. Said he was just exploring options, that they were still friends, that nothing was changing. Marcus wanted to believe him. He actually did. For just a moment, he wanted it to be a misunderstanding. He wanted his partner back. He wanted this not to be real. But then Derek looked him in the eye and said, "You're overreacting. You're being paranoid. You're being disloyal by even questioning this." And that's when Marcus realized something had broken. Derek wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. Derek was gaslighting him. Derek was making Marcus feel crazy for noticing the obvious theft happening in front of him. Marcus went home that night and didn't sleep. He sat there in the dark, thinking about everything he'd built, everything he'd sacrificed, in the fact that the one person he'd trusted most was methodically dismantling it all. Even weeks later, Marcus felt it. The exhaustion, the quiet resentment that came from fixing problems he never created. The next morning, something shifted inside Marcus. Not anger. Anger would have been clean. This was something else. It was clarity. It was cold. And it was dangerous. Marcus knew exactly what he could do. He could go public right now. Call every client. Tell them what Derek had done. Destroy Derek's reputation before Derek could destroy his. He could take the code, all of it, and start a new company tomorrow. He had the technical skills. He had the client relationships. He could leave Derek with nothing. He actually started drafting the email to all 2,000 clients, explaining everything. His hands were shaking, not from fear, from the temptation of it. He got 3 paragraphs in before he stopped. Because if he did that, if he went nuclear right now, Derek would prepare a defense. Derek would lawyer up. Derek would claim Marcus was paranoid and vindictive. It would become a legal battle, messy, unpredictable, expensive. Marcus would probably win, but it wouldn't be clean. And Marcus realized he didn't want to win the way Derek would win, through noise and chaos and whoever shouted loudest. Marcus wanted something different. He deleted the email, he closed his laptop, and he decided to do something that would have felt impossible the night before. He decided to wait. He hovered over the send button longer than he wants to admit, knowing once he clicked it, there was no going back. For the next 6 months, Marcus acted like nothing had changed. He was professional, he was reliable, he was the stable one, the one clients could trust, but he wasn't being passive, he was being strategic. He started documenting everything, every code contribution, every system, every decision. He pulled timestamps from the version control. He kept records of Derek's broken promises, of the clients who'd complained, of the features Derek had overcommitted to and then vanished on. He got to know the top clients personally, made sure they knew that he, not Derek, was the one keeping things running, the one solving problems, the one they could actually count on. He never said a word against Derek. He just made himself indispensable. He made himself impossible to lose. It took 6 months of this before Derek made his move. Derek called a meeting. He offered to buy Marcus out. $200,000 for half a company that was making $1 million a year. It was insulting. It was meant to be insulting. Derek was overconfident. Derek thought Marcus was desperate or tired or broken by now. Marcus almost smiled because he'd been waiting for this moment and he was ready. Marcus said okay. He said he had something to discuss first, and he handed Derek a folder. Inside was the documentation of the competitor company, the IP address, the registration details, the business laptop serial number, everything. Then Marcus showed Derek the code analysis proving Marcus had written almost everything in Cloud Sync. He showed Derek the client emails. He showed Derek the non-compete clause Derek had apparently forgotten. And then came the letter from Marcus's lawyer explaining the legal liability, the copyright infringement, the breach of fiduciary duty, the civil exposure. Derek's face went white. Marcus kept his voice even and warm. He said, "You are going to take my work and start your own company. I'm not going to let that happen. You're going to sell me your share for fair market value. Or we go to court." Derek tried to negotiate, tried to claim it was all a misunderstanding, but Derek's lawyer, after reviewing Marcus's documentation, had to deliver the truth. Derek had no legal leg to stand on. Within 2 weeks, Derek signed. He sold his share for fair market value. Not 200,000, nearly 5 million. And Derek had to announce his departure publicly, had to tell every client that Marcus was now in control, had to watch Marcus inform each of those clients personally about the future direction of the company. Derek's competitor? It never launched, like without Marcus's infrastructure, without Marcus's relationships, without any of the foundation Derek thought he'd already stolen. It was stillborn. Marcus didn't celebrate when it was over. He just felt lighter, like something heavy had finally been put down. 3 years later, Marcus sold CloudSync for $47 million. Derek works somewhere else now. Middle management. His LinkedIn is private. Most people wouldn't recognize the name anymore. The thing is, Marcus didn't win because he was ruthless. He won because he understood something most people never figure out. When someone betrays you, there are two ways to respond. You can explode. You can destroy them immediately. That's emotional. That's human. That's also giving them a chance to prepare a defense, or you can do what Marcus did. You can see the betrayal clearly, you can acknowledge it, and then you can use it. You can let them think they're winning while you build a position so solid they can never touch it. You can document, you can prepare, you can make yourself so indispensable, so absolutely necessary, that by the time they realize you were never vulnerable, it's far too late. Derek thought he was playing a game. He just didn't realize he'd already lost before he even... That's the story. Thanks for listening.